Just for €1, Romania bought 18 F-16 fighter jets from the Netherlands. What is Romania actively preparing for by also building a gunpowder factory? And for the first time since the full-scale invasion, Ukraine hands over captured Russian soldier to foreign court. Here's the latest, so you will be in focus. Subscribe and stay tuned. Romanian Defense Minister Ionuț Mușteanu announced a deal with the Netherlands to acquire 18 F-16 fighter jets and related equipment for a symbolic price of €1. The planes will be used for pilot training, including Ukrainian pilots. Mușteanu called the agreement a smart investment in training, cooperation, and the future. Also, Romanian firm Prosecuting Victoria has signed an agreement with German defense company Rheinmetall to build a gunpowder production plant in Romania. The deal was signed in Bucharest on November 3rd. Rheinmetall CEO Armin Papager said gunpowder remains a strategic bottleneck in the defense industry. The new facility will help the company reach its goal of producing 20,000 tons of gunpowder annually by 2030. These developments are part of a broader European effort to reinforce defense readiness and resilience in the face of a possible confrontation with Russia. NATO has prepared a concept of a deterrence line on its eastern flank, Welt reports, citing sources. The Supreme Allied Commander Europe has already presented the plan to delegates of the member states. The document outlines measures to strengthen the alliance's borders and to counter possible Russian aggression. More details to come from Andriy Dmitrenko.
On November 19th, Brussels will present a project for adapting EU infrastructure to military needs, according to the European Commission website. This involves developing rules for the seamless movement of troops and equipment in emergency situations. This is not a bureaucratic initiative, but an operational integration of the defense infrastructure of the European Union and NATO, explained the Center for Countering Disinformation at Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council.
The plan includes coordinating the use of trucks, railway platforms, ferries, and all transport routes capable of carrying tanks and artillery. To achieve this, border procedures will be simplified and mechanisms synchronized with NATO so that Allied troops can move without delays. Poland, Germany, Romania, the Netherlands, and the Baltic countries will become key transit hubs. Europe is preparing not declarations, but routes. Andrei Kovalenko, head of the National Security and Defense Council's Center for Countering Disinformation, on Telegram.
Military mobility is one of 9 points in the EU's military industry strategic development roadmap. The document defines flagship areas: air defense, infantry, and naval forces; heavy artillery, countering cyber threats. For Ukraine, this opens up a range of opportunities, experts believe. Primarily, it concerns the potential of Ukraine's defense industry and military technologies. In these sectors, Kyiv's experience is invaluable to partners. Additionally, the participation of Ukrainian companies in joint European procurement and production consortia means gradual unification of standards and certification procedures, thereby accelerating compatibility with NATO.
We came to a unanimous understanding that yes, we have problems with our defense capabilities. We need to strengthen them. You know, it's better to do this as much as possible in coordination with each other, and the European Union institutions do not replace NATO in terms of authority or decision-making. Andrius Kubilius, European Commissioner for Defense and Space.
This roadmap is having clear objectives, clear deadlines, and clear monitoring as well. Of course, it is up to the member states finally, because the member states are in driving seat, but it clearly helps them to achieve these goals, to also do things together.
The program of large-scale rearmament and strengthening Europe's defense capability became a response to Moscow's aggressive policy. NATO has prepared a plan to deter Russia on the alliance's eastern borders, writes Welt, citing sources. It is called the concept of the deterrence line on the eastern flank. The document spans 4,400 pages. According to media reports, Supreme Allied Commander Europe, Christopher Donahue, presented the concept to delegates from 32 member states. The main emphasis in defense will be on drones and autonomous weapons. It also plans to deploy more heavy weaponry along the eastern border and improve communication between the armed forces of alliance countries.
The number of Western military personnel here is growing. NATO countries are sending their troops who participate in exercises here, and we will have the largest training ground in Northern Europe built closer to the Russian border. Our defense is being strengthened not only by our Army and National Guard, but also by our partners, and we are proud of that. If Russia doesn't like it, that means we're doing something right.
The reorganization of some Russian military districts is causing serious concern in Brussels. This will lead to an increase in the presence of Russian troops on the borders with the alliance, explained the head of Estonia's Foreign Intelligence Service. Reported by Andriy Dimitrenko, UATV News.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
For the first time since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Kyiv has handed over a Russian serviceman to a foreign country for criminal prosecution for war crimes. The Prosecutor General of Ukraine reported. Ruslan Kravchenko called this an important precedent for the entire system of international justice. On October 30th, the Vilnius District Court placed the suspect in custody for 3 months. More details will be provided by Victoria Chistyukina.
A senior sailor of the Russian Army's military police, a soldier of the 177th Separate Guards Regiment of Marines of the Caspian Flotilla, was captured by Ukrainian military personnel in Zaporizhia region near the village of Rabotino. According to Ukrainian investigators, the Russian soldier, along with his comrades, created a filtration camp in Melitopol, occupied by Russia, on the territory of a military airfield.
Based on our data, he was involved in the unlawful detention, torture, and inhumane treatment of civilians and prisoners of war, beatings, electric shock torture, suffocation, keeping people in metal safes, and other horrors that are hard to even imagine. He applied all this together with other soldiers of his unit. One of his victims was a Lithuanian citizen, Ruslan Kravchenko, Prosecutor General of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Ukraine transferred the Russian serviceman to Lithuania. He has been charged under articles of the Criminal Code for war crimes, torture, unlawful deprivation of liberty, and violation of the Geneva Conventions. Now, he faces a life sentence, announced Ukraine's Prosecutor General.
This is not just a legal action, it is a clear signal to every war criminal. You will not escape accountability in any country of the free world. Justice will be served. Ruslan Kravchenko, Prosecutor General of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Ukrainian law enforcement has been documenting the aggressor country's crimes on Ukrainian territory since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Since 2022, prosecutors and police with intelligence support continue to collect evidence of the aggressor's atrocities in Bucha. On October 31st, the Prosecutor General's Office of Ukraine announced that another tormentor has been exposed. Investigators interviewed 330 victims and witnesses, conducted 59 investigative experiments, 86 identifications from photos, and 3 exhumations of murdered bodies. According to the investigation, the commander of the platoon of the 234th Air Assault Regiment of the 76th Airborne Division of the Russian Armed Forces issued orders to kill civilians in Bucha. He personally participated in tortures and controlled his subordinates' actions.
Conducting so-called filtration, they carried out searches, tortures, and murders of pro-Ukrainian civilians who, in their opinion, could assist Ukraine's defense forces. During March 2022, his subordinates killed at least 17 civilians. To cover up the crimes, the bodies of some of the murdered were burned. From a statement on the Prosecutor General's Office of Ukraine website.
All crimes of the aggressor country, its political and military leadership must be investigated, and the criminals punished. Ukraine's partners are convinced. In October, the European Union announced the allocation of the first 10 million euros to create a special tribunal for the crime of aggression by Russia. No one should escape punishment for the crimes committed, stated EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas.
It's important to consistently complete the work on establishing the special tribunal and for it to start operating. In my view, it will take not 1 year. The political effect is crucial when the leaders of the country that unleashed the bloody war, grossly violating international law and causing the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people, end up on trial, even in absentia. The precedent of such actions is important.
The European Union will also allocate 6 million euros to help Ukrainian children illegally deported by Russia from Ukraine's temporarily occupied territories, as well as victims of the aggressor's sexual crimes. As a reminder, for the forcible deportation of children from Ukrainian territory, the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin and Russia's Presidential Commissioner for Children's Rights, Maria Lvova-Belova, reported by Victoria Chistyukina, UATV News.
What's your take on all this? Share your thoughts below. This is UATV. Stay sharp, in focus, and stay safe.